Well, day 11, the 23rd of October, and we leave the desert to head to Jodhpur. The rooster made sure we were up early enough. It was interesting travelling through the desert. All the buildings were square like this, and there's lots of piles of sandstone ready for building new houses or new sheds or whatever it is. Everything seems to have a roller door. Okay, pick the odd thing out. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Travelling through one of the little villages, and every town, every village has a roundabout. And a goat for good measure. In Jodhpur we visited Maranga Fort up on the hill. It was a beautiful big old fort. Again, expansive and decorative. Beautiful views from the top. Jodhpur's the blue city. It's good to see the Indians have their health at heart. Beautifully ornate coloured windows. Jodhpur is called the Blue City because the blue is the colour of the Brahmin, and there are lots of Brahmin apparently that live there, and they have painted their houses blue. But apparently anyone can paint their house blue now. The palace in the distance, another palace, lots of palaces. You can see the blue houses. More colour. More intricate carving and beautiful buildings. Looking down to the city. Our day in Jodhpur was Diwali, the biggest festival of the Hindu calendar. It's like their Christmas. This was our Diwali welcome at our hotel. It was a lovely garden hotel called the Mandara Guest House. We joined another group at their hotel, and this was some of the decorations on their floor. And we were lucky enough to join in on one of the Hindu celebrations. Then we headed through nighttime Jodhpur, all the lights up for Diwali, and headed to a rooftop restaurant where we had the best night. The biggest thing about Hindu celebrations is the fireworks, and there were lots of them. It's the biggest night for fireworks. And here's the fort up on the hill. Day 12, and we headed to Udaipur. You never know what you're going to see on a motorbike, whether it's a goat. The most I've seen is a family of 6. And here they are transporting a huge bit of board. So the man behind's telling the man in front what's happening with the traffic. This was a temple dedicated to drivers and their safety. And this was our driver giving his devotion. In order to receive blessing and good luck, the Hindus tie these bits of string and ornaments around trees or around their arms to keep the blessing of the gods. We were driving along and suddenly the driver stopped. He'd spotted this cow grinding sesame seeds to make oil, and he had to buy some. On our way we stopped at a Jain temple. Jain is an offshoot of the Hindu religion, and here we had lunch. This is the kitchen where they produce a very simple lunch. And the queue for the lunch, they don't use any root vegetables, so no onion, no garlic, very plain food. But very nice nonetheless. This was the thali we had. Interesting sign here, please keep silence, but that didn't work. It was very noisy in the cafeteria. This is the Jain temple. Beautifully ornate, carved buildings, marble. Amazing big palace. Again, the roofs, the ceilings, the detail in the carving. It was nice to see some hills because all we've seen so far was flat desert. Kyle and his mum Karen just taking in the peace and the quiet, listening to the audio tour. And the green was nice too after the desert. And here was Yadu, keeping guard on our shoes and our valuables. Most of the temples you have to take your shoes off, and here they are all lined up. Then we went up over the hills to get to Udaipur, and here's some monkeys. Just some of the scenery. Amazing loads they carry on their heads. And always a herd of cows or goats or sheep or something on the road. Yadu engaging in his favourite practice, having a sleep in the bus. And it's true what you see on the movies and the telly. If you look at the top floor of this building, you can see a heap of poles keeping the two floors apart. And that seems to be the way they build their buildings. And you can also see that each floor is not that thick. This was one of the lakes in Udaipur. Apparently there's 7 altogether, man-made in the 1500s. One of the town dogs. Our hotel, beautiful hotel, right on the lake. This was the view from the front of the hotel, looking across to the city of Udaipur. Looking down the lake. Beautiful old hotel inside, ornate again. Lovely room with a balcony onto the lake. This was the view from my room, like an Arabian fairy tale. You can see the sun shining off the windows opposite as it's setting. Yadu, this was his hometown, so he was very proud of Udaipur. This was the licence on the boat we went on. Not quite sure what it means, whether it's valid to 201 people. This was a palace built in the middle of the lake. Sunset. Looking back across to our hotel in the night from our rooftop restaurant for dinner. The next morning, here were the locals down by the lake having a wash. Women on one side, men on the other. Very important to have a little ramp up your steps so that you can get a motorbike up there. Another one of my friends. It was good to see women driving. Yet another cow. This was the city palace in Udaipur, still where the Maharaja and Maharani live, but some of it is a museum, some of it's a school, some of it's a hotel, 5-star hotel. Looking down at the city. This is where the elephants used to be chained. Beautiful paintings on the buildings. Again, lovely marble screens. Nice courtyards. Ornate rooms. And some of the locals that wanted me to take their photo. That was on the ceiling. Looking up at the skyline. And Ganesh to bring you good luck to your house. Never seen one of these with a scale before. This is a bore or a pump for the people to get water. We went to a miniature painting place and Kyle got his nail painted. That's his thumbnail. We also had a cooking class with this gentleman. Very entertaining he was. Spice box, we got a lesson on politics and religion and all sorts of things, as well as a cooking lesson. So here we are. And this is what we had for lunch. It was very nice. This apparently is where they made one of the final scenes in Marigold Hotel, the scene after the funeral. They're making a sequel apparently, and it's all based in Udaipur, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. Very interesting spelling in some of the signs. And just walking along and bumped into an elephant. This looks like my old Annie dog almost. Looking for something to eat. and looking across to City Palace that night from our rooftop restaurant in the hotel. The next morning it was flying back to Delhi. And here's the outfit that I got made, or one of them. And when we got to Delhi, there was no room in the car, so my bag had to go on top.